Oh, hello. We be live, but not on Twitch because Twitch just told us that our title is not good.
I
I know
changed
what
it
it is.
to Atheist Republic number 273.
No, I'm just gonna remove the ISIS part. Gift card plus. Yes, I'm gonna. What? That shouldn't be in the title. Why is that in the title? Even on YouTube, we're gonna get punished for this. Okay, that's
Because
okay.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
When I see that title, it catches my attention and interest.
Okay, fine. Let's keep it in the title. Let's keep it in the title.
Armin, each of us nuke this channel in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it would be the titles that I pick. That's how I nuke our channel.
Okay. Oh, guys, like people are already telling us where they're watching. Hello from Germany, and who's Nico, an Hindu historian. Are you?
Hey!
I'm assuming you're in. Is he in India? Hindu historian? We
No.
haven't seen you for a
He's
while.
in Canada.
Oh, Canada. Okay.
Our neighbors to the north.
Yes, guys. Oh, from Russia, guys. Tell us where are you watching from? Because we constantly claim that we are the most global atheist channel, and when people tell us where they're watching from, we can brag about it. Like, look, Tema is from Indonesia, watching from Indonesia. Shiha from India. Norway, Cloud from Norway. Oh my God, Ray from Saudi Arabia. Amazing. Kian from Belgium. Jason from Uruguay.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to go to Uruguay. Yeah. Oh my God.
That's amazing. Okay. And Pakistani Defense Force, who is losing his mind, and from Pakistan.
Pakistani Defense Force just discovered Armin's positions on abortion and how far abortion should go, and he's lost his mind. But it's okay because Armin's position on that also causes me to lose my mind. So it's okay. But
it's funny how he thinks he exposes me because I have been
when you say it publicly for years. So it's not really exposing. It's more like you learned something more.
Yeah, it's just like I've learned something today. Armin exposed, like, oh wow, Armin exposed years after he said it himself. Okay. By the way, guys, my position on abortion is not like if you think I'm being exposed, maybe people might think like I'm being a conservative. No, he thinks I'm too much of a lib. I'm too progressive.
Armin, your position on abortion is far beyond any progressive or even the most extreme lib. It's far beyond that. I don't know what you call your position because I don't know anyone else that has that position because it's wild.
Guys, I claim that I think it's okay for a woman to abort the child even minutes before birth.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'll debate you on it.
That's
Newman.
Insane.
Wait, hold on. Okay, anyway. Newman from India. Okay, Canada. Iman from Canada. Guys, it's not just our audience that is global. It's also our news because we cover 10 news items, and it's from all around the world. Okay, I challenge you to find another atheist show that is this global, and we're doing it because we have this philosophy that we think atheist and secular activism needs to be across borders. Okay, we think that dogma, conservatism, and religion is a global threat, and we cannot fight it one country at a time. We think that secular and atheist activists around the world need to be introduced to each other, work with each other across borders, and we use this news sharing and conversation about what's happening in different countries as a way to create a community globally that is not country specific, right? So that's our philosophy, and that's why we do it.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. From Canada, Mark from Canada, Taha from Poland, Tesla from Serbia. And Jasmine from Slovenia. Wow, look at all the new people on Facebook. We have a lot of activity from Facebook. Anyways, what countries, just to show people how global our news is, what countries are we covering today, Susie?
Oh, we have the United States, we have the Middle East at large, Afghanistan, Canada, an important story from India, Germany, and Taiwan. Very good news from Taiwan.
Oh, good news from Taiwan. That's great. And the news mostly is today is sad, tragic, weird, happy, like on average. What are we doing?
We start off with weird. It's a mix of weird. We only have one or two things that are like bad, and then most of it is just like nonsense. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So not that depressive today.
We love to talk about nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, we do love the nonsense. Oh, Mexico. We don't get Mexico. Sorry, I have to read the names. Para from Mexico. Sorry, guys, if I missed any. A from Libya. Yeah, okay, cool. That's amazing. Also, A is saying, can't say my name for privacy if you're from Libya. You stay safe out there. Please be careful. Thank you. Also Canada, Casey. Casey's our own Casey. All right, we need to get started, guys. We need to get started. Guys, again, reminder that if we clap, we'd like to clap for each news, unless somebody is killed or somebody is tortured or somebody is molested. But other news, we try to clap. If we clap, it doesn't mean approval, okay? It just means that it's clappable, okay? Well, I think, like, is the first news clappable?
Yeah, no one got hurt.
Nobody got hurt? Okay.
Yeah,
guys, this does not mean, again, for this first news, it's very important that you understand this, okay? Clapping does not mean approval, okay?
It's not endorsement.
It's not endorsement. Okay. First news, gift cards for terrorists? How an 18-year-old... I messed that up already. Okay, let's start that over. Next news. First news, gift cards for terrorists. How an 18-year-old tried to fund ISIS. Now, this is pretty interesting. In a chilling twist of youthful naivete and sinister intentions, 18-year-old Matteo Ventura from Massachusetts found himself ensnared in legal jeopardy after attempting to fund ISIS using gift cards. Through encrypted messaging, Ventura unwittingly sent approximately $1,700 worth of gift cards to an undercover FBI agent posing as an ISIS sympathizer. Prosecutors assert that Ventura intended for these gift cards to be sold on the dark web to financially support ISIS. Astonishingly, Ventura allegedly sent an audio message in which he pledged his allegiance to the terrorist group. Furthermore, he attempted to negotiate with the FBI, offering insider information on ISIS in exchange for $10 million. Despite the evidence against him, Matteo's father, Paul Ventura, maintains his son's innocence, attributing the misunderstanding to his learning and developmental disabilities. My son said, "Dad, I don't understand. I didn't do anything wrong," Paul recounts of the moment the FBI arrested Matteo, reflecting the family's shock and disbelief at the charges. So, let me give a little bit of background. So in Massachusetts, there was this teenager, and Matteo, through one way or another, got very attracted to ISIS. And he believed that he was sending money to ISIS via gift cards, in which basically... By the way, guys, if there are people trying to get you to send them money online via gift cards, it's a scam. Okay, it's a scam. Just like public education, be really aware of if anyone asks you to do that, they're trying to defraud you. So the idea is that he goes to buy a gift card, and then he gives that the information of the gift card to someone else, a second party, and then that second party will sell the amount of credits on the gift card for slightly less than originally cost, right? But they still are making the majority of the money back. So this is a way that you can kind of send people money
with there being not a real paper trail, right? Or way less of a paper trail. And he first sent them around $700 worth of money when he was still a teenager. He was still a minor. He was still legally a child. And then he ended up sending them a second batch of money via gift cards when he was a legal adult. And what's very interesting is that he pledged his allegiance to ISIS, but at the same time, in separate lines of communication, he reached out to the FBI to tell the FBI that he had insider information on ISIS and that if the FBI paid him $10 million, he would give him this information. So it was almost like he was trying to play double agent, but doing it in a very, very inept way. And
you're trying to be polite.
I'm trying to be polite because this person reportedly possibly has developmental disabilities. That this is a real thing that his father has alleged. And so what do you think about this, Armin? I want to ask you that first because I have some trepidations about this, shall we say.
I mean, I was thinking about how can he possibly get out of this? The guy pledged allegiance. How do you accidentally send money to Al Qaeda? And then when you get caught, you're like, what did I do wrong? I'm like, you're like clearly trying to fund them, like you were pledged allegiance. You figured out a way to try to send them money without being caught. But then before he got caught, he was trying to like sell information to FBI, right? So. Yeah. I think he's just an idiot, not necessarily, I mean, I think he's just an idiot. I don't think, like, is he even Muslim? He doesn't seem like he's even Muslim. Is he even Muslim?
On the reporting that I have seen, it hasn't been very explicit about if he ended up converting or what. That's not entirely clear to me. But what I think is interesting was like, did he ever have any contact with anyone that was actually part of ISIS? Or was he talking to undercover agents the entire time? Because this is a controversial thing that the FBI does.
Oh,
in which they entrap people. And sometimes that entrapment is justified. And then there are times when people have serious concerns about if that entrapment.
No, they would have to report it. No, this can't be. I don't think this is entrapment. When you arrest somebody with entrapment, then you come out and I mean, when it was FBI agents you talk to, they will come and tell that this is how we got them. We can't just not say that.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Like if this kid, if he sent money to, like he probably did send money to ISIS. It wasn't just talking to FBI agents. Okay, but here's the thing. Unfortunately, this is how the law works. If you send money to ISIS and then be like, well, I didn't know I was doing something stupid. I thought I was being like a spy and I was going to make money from being a good spy and shit like that. You're going to go to, like you ended up, ISIS is now funded $700 because of you. So ISIS has now an extra $700 because of you. So I don't know, like what is that? What happens when
he never actually sent money. He never actually sent money to ISIS. No.
He didn't? Oh,
no.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Then maybe he needs a good lawyer. I don't know.
Clearly.
Yeah. But what happens when you are not mentally ill, but you're an idiot? That's like a really bad place to be. Because, because if you're mentally ill, then like you need help. But if you're an idiot, then you might do something criminal when you didn't intend to do something criminal, but that's not how the law works, and you still have to be punished. Because
what's that quote where it's like never attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence?
Yeah, but that's not a good rule. Some people have there's a lot of malice. There's a lot of malice. So don't. So, But again, I don't. Here's the thing. We don't know what happened here. Okay, but whether or not he meant to fund ISIS or try to catch them and make money off of it, that what he did is illegal. And if we say like, well, he was an idiot, maybe the punishment could be, maybe if he gets a lawyer that he could show that he didn't mean to fund ISIS, he was trying to, like, if you get a good lawyer, maybe he could reduce the punishment with a slap on the wrist and go home. I don't know. I have no idea. Again, we need a lot more details,
because he sent the first batch of money, which was almost $1,000, before the majority of the money that he sent was before he was 18. It was when he was still a minor. And then they waited a period of months before when he sent this another second batch after he turned 18. And then what's also interesting is he even went to go buy a plane ticket to go to Cairo. What? But he never left. He never went. He never rescheduled. He never even canceled his flight.
So here's the thing. We don't know. This could be either a case of somebody getting riled up to join ISIS, got motivated to join ISIS, or got motivated to be a spy that takes down ISIS. It could be a stupid kid. I don't know which one of them is. It could be either an idiot kid that thinks that it's cool to join ISIS, or an idiot kid that thinks that he could go and be an insider spy and take down ISIS. Either way is stupid, but unfortunately, one of them is criminal. One of them is still criminal, but like with good intentions. But I don't know. I guess we have to. You need more information to figure out how this case goes.
Man, well, I tell you one thing, there's going to be a full assessment of his capacity going into this prosecution, because this is so wild. Like, the idea of, here's the thing, they this is what's kind of funny to me, is the gift cards that were used were mostly for like the Google Play Store, but some of them were for like GameStop and like Dick's Sporting Goods. So the idea of funding ISIS with like GameStop gift cards is hilarious to me.
Oh my God. Did the companies that the gift cards were for come out and say like anything? Because this is really bad marketing for their gift cards.
Not that I've seen. I mean, it's not even like anything to do with those companies in general. It's just like at any drugstore.
But I know, but these
companies, America, you can.
I know, but these companies are. Okay, yeah, I know, but these companies are so sensitive about being even mildly associated with something like that, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, if you have your ads running on a video that might be controversial, they will pull out the entire ad campaign from like YouTube or Twitter or something like that. So even though like we know that you're not supporting that, like, no, our ads should not be like even close to what is happening over there. So I don't know, they're pretty sensitive.
I mean, at the same time, this is literally a matter of you just going into Walgreens and picking up any gift card off the shelf. So it's the company has zero control over that. This was definitely a headline I was not expecting to see this week, and that's part of why I wanted to cover
it. Good. I'm happy that. Oh my God, what is this? Okay, so we have to go to the next. What is this? This is surprising. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Are you ready for the next news?
Yes. Okay. Is it clappable?
Sure. Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Next news.
Spiritual U-turn. Are the youth in the Middle East embracing religion again? In a world where religious adherence seems to be waning, an intriguing resurgence is in religiosity among the youth in the Middle East and North Africa, or MENA for short, has been highlighted by the Arab Barometer, a reputed nonprofit research network known for its comprehensive surveys on social trends in the Arab world. According to its 7th wave of surveys conducted between 2021 and 2022, a striking majority of the citizens in the MENA regions self-identify as religious or somewhat religious. Notably, in countries like Tunisia and Libya, there have been a decline in the number of people describing themselves as not religious from earlier surveys, from 31% saying that they are non-religious to 27% in Tunisia, and from 25% to 24% in Libya, between 2018 to 2019 and 2021 to 2022, respectively. However, Lebanon stands out as an exception, where those claiming non-religiosity has increased from 14% to 19%. Additionally, engaging in religious practices has seen an uptick, with a considerable percentage of young people turning to holy texts daily. This spiritual U-turn offers a stark contrast to the secularization trend in regions like Europe and North America, and reflects the dynamic nature of religious beliefs in the Arab world. So, Armin, actually in this article, our lovely editor D included if you scroll down, a video from none other than our favorite Dai, Daniel Hakikaju. Yeah, right there. And I think, yeah, right there. Let's watch the video from Daniel Hakikaju really quickly, because I think it provides a little extra context. And there's also a histogram, a bar graph in his video that I want you to show.
Wait, let's watch it in a new tab.
Okay, you're not sharing that tab.
Yep. Yeah,
Just
I know.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Oh, we have someone from Somalia here today.
Yeah. Okay, I have to refresh because there was no audio. Let's try again. By the way, before I play, so MENA, like MENA, is basically all these areas that you see highlighted. Mm-hmm. Is ME for Middle East and NA for North Africa. For people who don't know, this whole area that is highlighted. Wait a minute. Iran is also in the Middle East. Why is Iran not highlighted?
You've always told me that the Middle East ends on the eastern border of Iraq.
Iran, the eastern border of Iran.
Oh. Well, because here's the thing. You guys are Persians. This is the Arab world. This is Arab barometer.
Because I was thinking, like, if you include Iran in this equation, then secularism and atheism should be skyrocketing, because that alone is 40 million more people without religion within 40 years. So if you exclude Iran from this equation, that will completely change the equation. But MENA, you don't have Iran with that MENA. Iran is in the Middle East. Like, what the hell? Why is that? Like,
well,
maybe you should say...
This maybe is the Arab barometer.
Yeah, but they shouldn't say MENA then. They should say the Arab world.
Mm-hmm.
This is not MENA. This is the Arab world. Iran, like, yeah, people are saying Iran isn't Arab. Like, oh, really? Oh, really, Ayan? You're telling me? Like, thank you. Okay,
hey, guys.
I'm kidding.
We're not going to do? We're not going to play into Persian hegemony in Iran. Shouts out to all our Iranian Arabs.
Yes. Iran is majority not Arab, but we do have Iranian Arabs especially in the Khuzestan province. So we do have Arab there as well.
And by the way, the Ahwazi Arabic accent is amazing. The way that like Iranian Arabs speak Arabic is such an interesting accent, but that's besides the point.
No, but you're right. Look, Israel is also the Middle East. Okay, so if you are going to, so Arabs, like Daniel Hakikaju is naming it correctly. Okay, so this is the Arab world, but it's not the Middle East and North Africa world, because if you want to say Middle East and North Africa, you need to include Israel, which is not Arab, and you need to include not majority Arab. They do have Arabs as well. And you need to include Iran, which is also not majority Arab.
Okay,
but let's see what Daniel Hakikaju.
We're getting a little bit off track, but I need to address this. Pakistani Defense Force is saying, why is Armin getting offended by being called Arab? There's nothing wrong with being Arab or any others. Do you even know
much
of Armin's life he has dedicated to fighting anti-Arab racism? I was poking fun at him because I knew it would get a reaction, because of how sensitive he is about anti-Arab racism.
You're such a fool. Pakistan Defense Force.
This is how hardcore he goes in our Persian community about this.
This is why Pakistani Defense Force always talks about something that he has no idea about. Okay, I have been spending more than a decade trying to fight the idea of Iran having a Persian identity, because we have Iranian Arabs, we have Iranian Turks, we have Iranian Kurds, we have Iranian Bakhtiaris, we have Iranian Baluchis, and so many other Iranians. So you are telling me, you know how much racism I have been fighting within Iran against Persian supremacy in defense of Arab Iranians and Turk Iranians and Kurd Iranians and Bakhtiyari Iranians, and you're telling me that? Shut the fuck up.
My favorite is when you start saying stuff purposefully in Arabic to piss off the racists and the Persians.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, we got sidetracked. Let's watch this video.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, is it playing? We don't have any audio.
Oh, really? Okay, let me go back.
In 2019, Arab Barometer survey allegedly found that Arabs were becoming less religious. The BBC cheerfully reported, "Are Arabs turning their backs on religion?" The Guardian cheered, "Arab world turns its back on religion." And the Times.
I like how when it was going the other way around, it's allegedly, and this celebration was wrong. But now, I don't know. Now it's not allegedly. Now that it's going more religious, is it true? Let's see if he still says allegedly.
Times celebrated. Arabs are losing their religion in backlash against Islamists. But the Arab Barometer does these surveys regularly, and its 2021 report is bad news for liberal secularists.
Hey, how come it's not allegedly anymore? How come it's allegedly when people are becoming less religious, but now it's just bad news? How come it's not allegedly bad news? Oh, see, it's always going up. It's always going up.
Apart from Lebanon, in every country, the religious
Lebanon. See, this is what you know why it's Lebanon? You know why it's Lebanon? Because of religious influence in politics, right? So
they actually say that in the poll. Sorry, continue.
Oh, they do? I didn't even read the study, and I already knew it. Because here's the thing: this is all just Arab countries, not just all Middle Eastern countries. And guess what other country would be here if they were doing Middle Eastern countries looking like Lebanon, where people are getting less religious and more atheist and more even anti-Islamic? Iran, yeah. So Lebanon, like Iran, people are getting less religious because there is religion in the government, and people have a allergic reaction to religion when religion meddles in their lives, right? So
this category saw a huge upsurge, nearly doubling in Morocco and nearly tripling in Algeria. The only outlier was Lebanon, and it seems that the dip in religiosity is mainly due to its secularized Christians. Overall.
Oh, so that would be actually against what I said. The Muslims are not reduced in, people are not leaving Islam in there?
Based on the reading that I saw, it didn't break down that information to that degree. So I don't actually know where he's getting that.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. This is Daniel Hayraju. Okay, do not trust this. Do not trust this guy. He has been misquoting studies. I don't know, maybe he's right, but I do not trust based on his reading of the studies. Daniel Hayraju has been caught over and over and over again misrepresenting studies, and sometimes the exact opposite, 180 degrees opposite of what the study was concluding. Even we caught him red-handed a couple of times in some debates. So
it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
However, Arabs are growing in their commitment to Islam. So where is the Western media coverage now? And where is all the enthusiasm we saw back in 2019? In 2019.
Well, I mean,
and so D is pointing out that we have failed Daniel by reporting on this, as he said that nobody would.
Oh yeah, sorry, Daniel.
Yeah,
an atheist channel.
Hey, I know it's important to talk about. And actually, it was Dee that brought this story to my attention as something that we should talk about. So let's pull up this histogram, because I think this is a really good visual representation that summarizes the findings of this survey. So in red, you can see the previous levels of religiosity, and in green, you can see the current levels of religiosity based on the most recent data and polls. And so you see that in a lot of these countries, there has been a big increase of religiosity. And what is interesting is, so based on the reading that I was looking at from the actual publisher of this, they said that this is generally in line with a lot of trends we saw during the pandemic, because again, remember that this was a poll between 2021 to 2022. So that was still when the pandemic was more impacting us than it is now. And then it also looked at basically daily practice, and it did show that across many of these countries, you are seeing an uptick in the daily religious practice of people. So that could be things like reading the Quran, that could be things like praying consistently, that could be different forms of consistent religious observance, right? So Armin, all that being said, what do you make of this?
Well, I'm gonna know. Well, that means that we have a lot of work to do. And by we, I don't mean just us. I mean we and a lot of other atheists and secular activists, right? I thought we can retire maybe like in 5 years, but apparently not. But what is the? I need to know, and we need to figure out the cause. Is there any? Does the study show any cause, any reason behind the growth in religiosity? Is it a backlash to secularism?
There is not enough information to make a conclusion on that right now. Based on the only things, okay, here's what the takeaway of what it says on the Eurobarometer site. This rise in personal piety could be due to many factors, such as the effects of COVID-19, deteriorating economic conditions, or other challenges that make people more likely to return to religion. Regardless of the exact reason, data shows that religion continues to play a key role in the lives of most people around the MENA region, and likely will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Yeah, because particularly youth saying that they were not religious was on the rise in the 2010s, but this trend has reversed in the 2020s.
If you had to guess, what would you guess for the guys in the live chat? Let us know what is your guess. What is the reason behind this? What are you guessing?
And it's important to consider, and one thing that is brought up in the results that were published from the survey, and I think this is important to consider, is that the trends and practices of religiosity like change over time. This isn't something that is always going to be a decline, right? This isn't constant. These trends aren't constant. So it's silly to think that, oh, just because it's continually going down year after year, that it's always going to be that way, which is especially important to consider in the context of the United States, where there is going to be some interesting polling that came out that we're going to talk about later in the show. Yeah.
Oh, and
so don't take it for granted, is what I'm saying.
So some people are saying it was because ISIS made a lot of people leave Islam, and now because ISIS is less relevant, people are going back. Ian is saying Andrew Tate, or anti-LGBT trends. What else? Right wing propaganda from the U.S. like Tate, Peterson, etc. I think it might just be a correction, a return to mean. You know what I mean?
Explain.
Like maybe there was when you have a sharp change, sometimes there will be a self-correction to the average where it used to be, just because that's the foundations of the culture and society is. I don't know if that explains it. It also, and again, I have no idea. These are just guess. I have no idea if these explains it. Here's another explanation. There's, as much as we support modernity, one problem with modernity is it's happening too fast for the human brain to adapt, right? And it is causing a lot of stress, a lot of loneliness, and religion is a safety blanket. Okay, religion serves as a safety blanket and as a place that people are familiar with and feel like they have some superior power or to protect them, or a community to have their back, right? So that could be it as well, because of the dramatic change in socioeconomic conditions and the structure of in the institutions, how we define our identity and how institutions work, and the relationship between family and work, and how connections are now through the internet, and also I know this might come off as a joke to you guys, okay, and you might think I'm just trying to be funny because you don't take this as seriously as it deserves. It also might be because people are not getting laid.
Oh, that's not a joke.
Yeah.
That's as real as it gets. I'm not joking either.
Yeah. This is like, again, I'm not trying to make fun of people. This might be a major contributing factor. Yeah. I'm not starting families.
Is that as much of a trend in outside of the Western world or America? Because like those studies that I've seen surrounding like the rise in male virginity and how young people are not having as much sex as the generations before them, which is funny because they think that we're all whores, right? But we're actually statistically having significantly less sex than the people before us.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Is that happening? Hey. Speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself, lady.
As a generation, Gen Z is not having as much sex as the generations before them, right? But is that true in globally or the MENA region? Because I've seen most of that statistics coming out of North America and the West. Do you know?
Yeah. No, I don't know the answer to that. Actually.
Okay.
I don't know that. I don't know how different that number is. Yeah.
I appreciate that our live chat is like, yeah, no, that's not a joke. That's real.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question which I don't know how to answer. So Young Atheist is asking, do you think Arab society will change in a few years and become less religious? I do not know. I do not know. I think depends on how long term you're thinking. If your timeline is really big, I think so. Okay, I think religion eventually will die, right? So, but I don't know within our lifetime. I don't know what changes are going to be happening in the near future, or even in the somewhat distant future. But in the very long term future, I think all religion will completely die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, part of me really wants to go on a rant about how I have a lot of sympathy for incels right now since it came up, but it's not relevant, and I think we should move on.
Yeah. Don't. I don't know if you would like the reaction you might get out of that, but okay.
I know. It's tough. Yeah. Okay, I'll just keep it short. People make fun of people for not getting sex when they want it, and I think that's lame, because if you've ever been in a position where you are actively being denied sex and you need it, it is brutal.
Are you speaking from experience, young lady? Yes. Are you speaking? Yes? Okay. Are you speaking from experience?
Let's just say that Armin has seen me at my wit's end on a few occasions. I'm like, I think I tell Armin, isn't it an exaggeration to say my breaking point?
Yes.
No, it's not an exaggeration to say it was at my breaking point.
Well, I mean, it's admirable. The girl knows what she needs. It's good that it's good when you know what you need. So.
Wait, Imran said Susanna can't go one stream without lamenting the effects of
Yeah, that's an accurate description of you. Oh my god, I didn't expect this.
This is my legacy.
Oh my god, this is why who was it? Was it Harris? Remember on the stream when he was telling me that, women don't get as. Oh yeah, it was Harris. He was telling me. Remember now? It was in Germany.
In Germany,
we were all we were sitting around.
Hale, Waleed, and Harris having a in-depth conversation for like 45 minutes about female horniness.
They were telling me, these men were telling me, like, oh, Armin, women never get that horny. I'm like, and you were sitting right there. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking.
They were saying they don't get as
horny
as much as men. And on average, that's true.
No. I said there are some that do, and they were denying that. They were denying me. I'm like, sure, Armin, sure. Like, whatever you say. Oh, like, okay. If you guys have not had that experience, then I feel sorry for you guys. Okay. But there are, like, maybe just because they haven't come across any. Yeah. Anyways, people are roasting you in the live chat.
I know, it's so bad. I need to shut up. Like, you guys need to You need me to shut
up. These things are relevant, okay? So no, bring it back. Okay, no, like, here's the thing. We're talking about how radicalism and grows, okay? And Susanna, okay, you were extremely radical at some point. Were these two related at all?
At that point in my life, no.
No? Okay. I thought they might be related. I thought you were just trying to suppress your urges at that point.
During that time of my life, I was generally very sexually repressed because I hadn't worked through how Catholicism messed me up. Yeah. I don't think they were consciously related at all, though.
But, okay, so we need to get back to the show.
I think I embarrassed myself.
No, okay. It's complete. What? No, don't let these people. No, don't let anybody embarrass you. These are natural things. Hey, like, you can't outdo me when it comes to horniness. Okay, trust me. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's already expected from ex-Catholics. I mean, come on.
Oh, to be
ex-Catholic. Yeah.
We know this. We know this.
Yeah.
It's the Catholic schoolgirl thing. It's a thing for a reason.
Yeah. It's a Catholic schoolgirl thing, guys. It's completely normal. This is completely to be expected. Okay.
And there's a lot of people out there that are like, you know what? It's actually worth it. They're like, I don't know what it does to you, but it's worth it.
All right. Oh my god. Yeah, I think people are loving this. It's okay.
I still feel embarrassed. I need to shut the fuck up.
It's fine. I think it's adorable. I think it's adorable.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Don't let people shame you for the things the way you are. Can we clap for the next news?
No one actually died or anything, so yeah, we can.
Okay. Next.
Okay, moving on.
No, why do you highlight? Okay, I am saying it's fine. Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
All right. Okay. Next news.
Business Jihad, the plot to drive out religious minorities in India. And I apologize in advance if I pronounce the name of things wrong. In the Indian state of Uttarakhand, escalating tensions between Hindus and Muslims culminated in the forced exodus of many Muslims from the town of Purula, following an incident that reignited accusations of love jihad and spurned a new conspiracy termed business jihad. This unfolded after two men, one being Muslim, were accused of kidnapping a Hindu girl who was a minor, inciting the right-wing Hindu groups to mobilize against the Muslim community. Amid the atmosphere of fear and violence, Muslim-owned businesses were targeted and vandalized. Zahid Malik, a Muslim member of the BJP who had been living in Purula for over 30 years, recounted his harrowing experience, saying, quote, "I had no option but to leave because there were clear threats that we will be harmed if we do not leave before June 15th. Even though I am associated with the ruling party, sadly, I did not get any help from the administration." So let me provide a little bit more context. So in the state of Uttarakhand, I think an important context to remember is many people will remember about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, there were these vitriolic hate speeches that were going on in India. They were happening in a city called Haridwar. And I mean, if you're not familiar, these are some of the most fascistic, like Yahtzee style speeches I have ever heard. I'm talking like oaths to keep India Hindu nation, saying that they'll do whatever it takes, even getting violent to make India a Hindu nation, and a lot of very, very extreme hate speech that went internationally. You know, it was international news because of how shocking it was, right? So this happened in the same state. This is all kind of, you know, in part of the local consciousness, right? Okay, so there's this little town or district called Purula, and in this area, there was an attempted kidnapping. And there was a girl, I don't know how old she was, but she was legally a minor, who was attempted to be kidnapped by two men. One comes from a Hindu background and one comes from a Muslim background. And because one of these men who was arrested by the police, like he's being prosecuted, they're both being prosecuted, right? Because one of these men who attempted to do this horrific crime was Muslim, it gave the excuse of local Hindutva parties and activists, including people from the VHP, people from the BJP, excuse me, to go and create this conspiracy that not only is this an aspect of love jihad, which is a conspiracy basically that Muslim men are deceptively marrying Hindu women to then reveal that they're Muslim and then force them to be Muslim, and then this is going to change the demographics of India ultimately. So it went from an allegation of love jihad to people giving hate speeches saying that they're business jihadis in their neighborhood. And what this means is they're basically painting in these speeches that were given, saying that all these like working class, like Muslim men, they were all jihadis. They're business jihadis. And these mechanics, these delivery boys, these, I don't know, like construction workers, carpenters, whatever. They're all actually business jihadis because then they're in your neighborhood because they're doing business with you, which gives them access to your women. This is part of the idea behind it. And this caused rioting. This caused people to be explicitly given notice that they had to leave. And there were multiple families. And I believe at least around a dozen businesses that were expelled, straight up like expelled from this area. And these are Muslim businesses that have been a part of, like, people moved into this area like decades ago. People who have been a part of these community for like over 30 years, expelled in the span of like 2 weeks because of all these tensions. And it was really sad to read some of the stories of the people that were expelled, because they were talking about how they moved to this area like years ago with their family. They loved living there, that they had a good business, that they had good relations with their community, that they, I mean, these are, one of the guys that was interviewed, he was saying like, I would go celebrate Diwali with like my Hindu neighbors. Like all my friends are Hindus. All my friends are Hindus. They would come celebrate it, like Eid with me. But when people started threatening me and putting up notices on doors, like written notices saying that you got to be expelled, and then I just lost my train of thought. Shoot. Basically, he was saying that it hurt him so much that no one defended him, that these people that were a part of his community for decades did not defend him when he's been a part of their celebrations in their community, in their life, when they're receiving notices on their door that they have to get expelled within the span of 2 weeks or someone will come hurt them. And there was this guy who even said that he was a Muslim leader of like the BJP minority groups. And he was saying like, even I'm not protected. There was no one came to protect me. I had to leave. Now, people from the BJP in that area have disputed that he was actually involved in the way that he said he was. So take that as you will. But in general, he's saying like, I'm leaving the BJP now because I supported this party for so long, and now it's come hit me and they turned their back on me. And in some of these instances of the vandalism and property damage that happened to these businesses, Armin, this is what was shocking to me, is that you can see that they were marking Muslim businesses. They would go and put X's on the doors, go mark which businesses belong to Muslims to go make sure that they're targeted later or to make sure that they're watched, which is very disturbing to me. That out of everything that happened in this event, that marking of the businesses was probably what disturbed me the most.
It reminds you of something that happened back at some point in history, right? Like, I don't know if I could put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it really does make you think about something.
Right.
That happened when a certain man with a very special mustache came to power. That's disturbing, deeply, deeply disturbing. So
are we gonna have eating jihad, like walking jihad in the India in the future? Like, oh, you're walking here. We have walking jihad. We have breathing. Are we gonna have breathing jihad? Like they're breathing our air.
There was spit jihad. That was one. There was land jihad, which had to do with when you're praying in public. Like being religious in public, that's now land jihad.
Breathing, no breathing. You have to make breathing jihad. Breathing jihad. You're breathing our air. That's what's gonna come.
Yeah. Spit jihad was one, because apparently Indian Muslims have like this tradition or something that when you have fresh food or something, you like blow on it to like bless it. And they were saying that they're spitting in the food, but actually they're just kind of like breathing over it to bless it. It's some tradition that I'm not too familiar with. So that's basically breath jihad. But Armin, so now that I provided more background and context on this, and we can go see in the video, our lovely editor D, love you D, included a video to show some of the violence.
Oh
yeah, here we go.
Oh my God.
So we can watch a little bit of that if you want.
Before I play the video, I do want to. A lot of people are attacking Hindu historian for what he is saying here, but I do agree with Hindu historian here. Okay, there are a lot of things that you could blame on Hinduism, but this you can't find in Hinduism, right? Like, for example, anything caste related, for example, I could. I'm not like defending Hinduism. Hinduism has a lot of disgusting teachings that you could point to. Most importantly, caste, the caste system, right? But this is not in Hinduism. This is like, we're still this is part of Hindutva ideology, right? This is part of, I don't know, BJP ideology. This is part of like the rise of far right conservatism and far-right nationalism in India
Mhm.
is part of that ideology, but there's nothing specific in Hinduism that you could point to.
Exactly. And I would never
Yeah,
attribute any of this directly to Hinduism. The reason why we're covering this is not because it has to do with Hinduism specifically, but it's because there is a religious minority that is being targeted. That's why that's why we're covering it, right?
But the new ideology is still religious. Okay, so Hinduism is, I think, like Hindu. You know how QAnon comes out of evangelical Christianity and is mixed with a whole bunch of stuff, and it's now its own cult religion, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
even Hindutva, it's its own religion. I mean, it's not Hinduism; it's related to Hinduism. So even if it's just Hindutva alone and it's not Hinduism, I still think it's a religion.
Yeah, in the same way that like Christian
modern,
nationalism is like its own weird religion now, like QAnon is its weird own religion now.
Yeah, it's a modern Hindutva is a modern religion that has Hindu branding. That's how I see it. Yeah. But anyway, let's watch this video. What? Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Are you? They're saying Jai Shri Ram. So for people who don't know, Jai Shri Ram means glory to God Ram.
Lord Rama.
Right? Yeah. Lord Rama. And Lord Rama is one of the avatars of Vishnu. The most important one, actually. Wow. Unbelievable.
And here's the thing.
That is insane.
There were a number of families that were legit expelled. They were legitimately expelled from this area. They had to just go and leave and try to find a place to open up their businesses in a different district or a different town or something. Because they very quickly were like, we got to get out of here. This genuinely is unsafe for us. And what's interesting, crazy. I think I saw some people say this in the live chat, that there are people who are excusing this by saying that this is what Kashmiri Pandits had to go through. This is what Kashmiri Hindus had to go through. So now it's the Muslims' turn.
Which is how.
So I can't even deal with that mentality. Oh my God. I can't believe. Armin, I need to say this. There are people that legitimately watched the Kashmir Files, which is it's an absurd propaganda puff piece for those who don't know. Like it's a bad movie. Like legitimately, it's just a bad movie, even if it wasn't propaganda. But I cannot believe that you're watching this movie called Kashmir Files about the ethnic cleansing and horrific violence that Hindus in Kashmir survived, or maybe they didn't, which needs to be appreciated and discussed frankly and openly and honestly, because a lot of people don't want to be clear about what happened to the Hindus there. And I will go like toe to toe with anyone that's trying to deny that shit, right? But how can people see that experience, even when it's so sensationalized in that movie, and say, you know what we need to do? We need to go do what the bad guy terrorists are doing. That's the takeaway from this movie. The disgusting, like, death worshiping terrorists in that movie who we villainize and find abhorrent for good reason in this movie, The Kashmir Files. The takeaway, the lesson that we're going to learn here is that actually what we need to do is go be that people to someone else. It's obscene and absurd to me. It breaks my brain. Okay, I got that out of my system. Armin, I'm sorry I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
No, I just wanted to say this is, first of all, somebody identified the logical fallacy as two wrongs don't make it right, right? But it's also, even if two wrongs did make it right, these are not the same people. This is how your mind works on collectivism. When you hold an entire community responsible for the actions of some people within that community, okay? This is why collectivism just breaks your brain, okay? This is why we need to promote individualism, where people are responsible for the actions, for their own actions, not for the actions of other people within their community. Also, this is a good question. Can you answer this while I see other comments if you want to highlight?
Mirda is saying there are no laws in India or moral. Are there no laws in India or moral thinkers to help guide their communities in such events? Okay, obviously there are laws in India. I mean, I don't know what you think this is. Are there moral thinkers to help guide their communities? There are lots of activists. There are lots of activists and politicians who tried to go out and prevent this kind of thing. But I think we all need to understand that there is a lot of local mobilization that happens with Hindutva activists. They're very successful at being locally active on the ground. This is kind of one of their biggest strengths. And not only that, I think we all need to have an appreciation for how our own economic well-being can deeply impact our political affiliations, basically. So based on my understanding of history and most sociology and socioeconomics, people are more inclined towards these kinds of attitudes and this kind of violence when they're not doing that well themselves, in general. So I think
I want you to read
and not hold
some of these.
I think that most people are, I don't know. Don't hold this against Indians. That's lame. Don't be racist. That being a racist. If you're a racist, you're a loser.
Read these comments. This one. This is a good one to highlight. These are the ones D selected.
Oh, sorry.
No, the one on the screen. The one on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So here's one. This is a comment D found on Twitter saying, like, Hindus left Kashmir and Muslims should leave India. We Indians will be in top of the world in aspects if you people leave. With the little, wow. I'm Hindu in my username and the little red flag to be like the little Hindu nationalist flag. It's just so disturbing. It's so disturbing. Yeah, and look at another person saying, because you guys deserve this.
So a Muslim is asking, a Muslim in India is asking why Muslims are fleeing a small town in India's Uttar. How do you say this?
Uttarakhand, I think.
State?
I don't know.
Yeah. Nearly a dozen families have been forced to leave. And then this Hindu guy is saying, because you guys deserve this. Unbelievable. This is amazing. This is crazy. And this is.
Meanwhile, like these are
based
on the reports and stories from the people who are being expelled. Like these are not like radical Muslims. Like these are Muslims that are like going to celebrate Hindu holidays like with their neighbors. That's exactly who you want. That's the kind of Muslim that you want in your community. Like.
This is going to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
I think
like
so,
a lot.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to go to the next news.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are the comments showing up? For some reason, the comments are not showing up on my feed. Are they showing for you? The new comments.
The StreamYard comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, they stopped.
I'm gonna refresh to see if it comes for me because I'm seeing it on my phone. I'm not seeing it away.
Yeah.
Bear with me first.
Stopped. Okay.
Don't. I'll do.
No,
it.
I know. Go ahead.
Reload changes that you made.
Hi everyone, it's just me right now. The American takeover. Hey. My American imperialism. I just can't help it.
What happened?
Nothing. I just made a dumb joke.
Okay. Wait, okay, so okay, I have to look at the comments on my phone because they're not showing up on StreamYard, which means I can't highlight them.
I know sometimes StreamYard does this. It's been a while though, because I'm not getting any new comments on mine either. Damn it. Okay. I don't like that.
Can you have it and can you bring up your phone so you can at least see it on your phone in case there's any comments?
Yeah, I'll bring it up on a different way. 1 second. In the meantime, let's start the next news.
All right. Can we clap for it? Because I need to put myself down and go. I'll be right back.
I mean, okay, it's not happy, but no one died. We're just talking about a general attitude, right? We're examining some attitudes.
Okay. Don't wait for me before.
I know.
Okay. Next news.
Birthplace of Martyrs, the Afghan valley that idolizes its suicide bombers. In a haunting echo of devotion to a chilling cause, the lush Tangi Valley in Afghanistan celebrates its legacy as the birthplace of martyrs, where young men dream of becoming suicide bombers. Ismail Ushakula, a former Taliban fighter and local to the valley, wistfully recounted to the news agency AFP of his own missed opportunity to be a suicide bomber, stating, quote, "When I was informed by my superiors that I had to join the battalion, I was delighted that God had chosen me. I felt a lot of joy." This valley, strategically located near Kabul and once a stronghold of the Taliban, is steeped in a culture that reveres martyrdom through suicide attacks. Though the Taliban claims these attacks targeted foreign and Afghan troops, the UN report from 2019 highlighted the devastating reality. Around 1,500 civilian casualties were attributed to Taliban suicide attacks in that year alone. Armin, come back. Okay. So I wanted to cover this because this was an interesting article that actually, once again, our lovely Dee, as per usual, brought to my attention. And it profiled this valley in Afghanistan. And it profiled several people who still worship this way of life, so to speak. It looked at, basically, it's interesting to consider these people that missed their opportunity to do this kind of a thing when the when the Taliban was still fighting the, Western-backed Afghanistan government. And it talks about how there are these families that they would, when their sons would leave madrasas, they'd be like, "Okay, son, it's time for you to go join this. And it's time for you to do this." And that when one father found out that his son was killed in a suicide attack, he went to his wife and the first thing he said is "Congratulations, your son is a martyr." And so it was going through kind of how these attitudes still very much remain. So Armin, before I go into more detail, what do you think about this?
It reminds me of some childhood memories when we were in elementary school. Was it elementary school or was it a bit higher? Yeah, we were in school and we had a teacher who was telling us about his memories in war, like the Iran-Iraq war, right? And a grown man, and we were children watching him, and a grown man started crying in front of the rest of all of these kids about why didn't he die? Why did his friend get to die and he wasn't martyred? He missed the opportunity to die, right? To be martyred for Islam, right? And then I remember we also had another teacher. We had another teacher that he was with pride telling us about his memory of shaming the mother of a martyr for crying. He for saying, do you not have no faith? Why would you be crying? Your son has gone to the best part of heaven. He's in much better place than any of us could even imagine. And shaming the mother for not having enough faith to think something bad has happened, that she has lost her son.
Wow.
Oh, I remember. This is not, again, my childhood memory. I remember on news seeing some Palestinian mothers having celebrations for the death of their son because they were murdered. They had parties and they were happy. They were saying, imagine a mother, I was watching a video. Those other two were my actual memories. This was a video I watched, okay? Imagine a mother saying that this is the best day of the best day of her life was the time that they came with the news to her and told her that your son has died. And that was the best day of her life because her son is now in the best place he could be. And think what religion does to your brain. Something that goes against your very nature. A mother who still loves her son is so filled with joy because her son has died and now he's a martyr. It's unbelievable.
Holy crap. Yeah.
This is how religion rots your brain, guys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, here's a quote from one guy. He said, "We had no weapons to compete with, so we saw fit to equip ourselves with explosives and enter the places shielding the infidels to break their jaws and reduce their bones to ashes," said Abdul Wahab Siraj, another suicide volunteer. "We were so crazy about the love of Allah that life had no importance to us. We were trying to get closer to him as soon as possible through martyrdom."
Look at the comments that Dee has found for us. So somebody is saying Muhammad Qaim is saying proud moment here. And here's to the article about the Afghan Valley proud of its young suicide bombers. So this is a person saying proud moment. And here's another person saying courage with a what is this called? What is this?
Flexing. A little flexing arm muscle.
Oh, flexing arm muscle, saying should be learned only from those people. So this guy is happy with that. Yeah, so that's pretty. Yeah, what a waste of passion and talent and potential. Potential. Imagine a human being that could be so many different things, experience so many different things, and this is what you get instead. What a waste.
Yeah. I think when I was reading that article, this might sound really weird, and I'm going to try to phrase this in a sensitive way because I don't want to make people confused about where my heart lies, and who I'm supporting. But when I was reading this, I was reading the story of this guy who was doing jihad, and he started when he was a teenager, and now he's 25 and he's a father. And he was basically talking about how he missed his chance, right? And we know this. We've been talking about how there's a lot of Talibs that feel this way. And I was reading it and I was thinking about when you live in an environment like this and you are so surrounded by these attitudes and this is something you deeply believe. This is a sincerely held belief, right? I felt a weird sense of sympathy for him that he missed his chance. Because I was thinking how if you really believed that, if you really believed this, that would actually be very, very emotionally distressing. I think that'd be very emotionally distressing if you really feel like you missed your opportunity to achieve the greatest achievement as imbued in you by your community. Right. And I think it's important to consider that because I saw a lot of comments on this article, not on our article on our website, but one of the source articles of people basically really demonizing Afghans after reading this article. A lot of disgusting comments and saying when people say that we want to bring them here, blah, blah, blah. We need to understand that people don't arrive to these kinds of attitudes and beliefs if there are other opportunities for prosperity in front of them. Exactly. These attitudes arise when there are no other options in your environment for success. And so this becomes how you achieve quote unquote success. And I think it's important to consider that not only so that we can not be bigoted against all Afghans because we shouldn't, that's stupid. But also understand that if the conditions of your environment were the same way, you would probably believe the same thing yourself.
Exactly. That's very important. That's very good. That's a very important message. That's very important.
Yeah.
It's hard to show sympathy when it comes to, understanding doesn't mean excusing. People don't understand that, right?
Exactly.
People think when you try to understand what conditions can lead to something like this and to try to condemn but also sympathize, people think that you're excusing something. You're not excusing anything. The punishment, the prevention, it should all be there. But if you do not have understanding, then you're going to have a harder time figuring out how to stop it.
Exactly.
You do need understanding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point. Very good point. Very good point. Okay. Clappable, next news.
This is our most controversial story that we're covering this week, and Armin and I had to have some discussions, girlfriend, about how we're going to cover this. So, Armin, do you think we should clap for this?
Nobody died. I'm going to clap.
Love it. Okay. Next news. Christians and Muslims unite in forcing kids into anti-LGBT protest. In Ottawa, Canada, an unexpected coalition between Muslims and conservative Christian groups manifested in a protest against a directive by the Ottawa Carleton District School Board that supported the use of they-them pronouns for all students until they express their preference. A video of the Muslim and conservative Christians was shared online, where Muslim women and other demonstrators encouraged young children to stomp on pride flags strewn on the ground. As the kids danced on the flags, an older white man was seen holding a large Canadian flag, leaning down to shake a kid's hand in solidarity and saying, "Right on, boys," while chants like "Leave our kids alone" were heard in the background. A counter and protest ensued in support of LGBT rights. Emily Quayle, an organizer and a parent, expressed her resolve against the anti-LGBT demonstrations, stating, quote, "We will not let them spread their transphobic fascist ideology anywhere, here or anywhere else. And that starts with community strength. And that's what I'm really proud to see today." The school board and community members condemned the protest, emphasizing the concern over demonstrations targeting children. So I want to provide a little bit of context before we dig into this, and we can watch the video, right? So I want to provide a little bit of context, and then we can watch the video. So based on what I have read before, because I saw this clip go viral, and then I saw a few news sites write up what happened, right? And according to our main source that we used for this news, it's called LGBTQ Nation, something like that. They said that these religious people protesting was started because there was some sort of directive from the school board in Ottawa Carleton District that said that teachers and administrators should use they, them pronouns for all students until the students express their preferred pronoun. But I read that and I was like, that's absurd. Is that real? Is that real? Did the school board really said we're informing teachers that they should only use gender neutral pronouns for children until they explicitly tell us otherwise? That is hard for me to believe. So I went to go do some more research, specifically looking on, is that directive true? And I was only able to find that reaffirmed in a source that I do not trust, and also affirmed in a different article from the same organization that we got our original source from. So I still feel a little bit of skepticism about if this thing about the school board saying that you should use they, them pronouns for all students until they express their preference is actually true. That being said, though, outside of being informed otherwise, I have to go forward and believing that this is what kicked off that original protest. It's so hard to know with this kind of stuff because of how toxic the culture war has gotten surrounding these issues. But I just wanted to provide that extra context that, according to the sources that I have available to me, that is what kicked this off. So now that I've explained that and clarified that a little bit, let's watch the video of these kids stomping on these flags, and then we can get into it.
Yeah, before we do that, though, let's just condemn the main thing that is the problem here. Like, whatever they did, this is disgusting, obviously. Mm-hmm. The stomping on gay, this is especially the mother leading them on.
let's for people who haven't seen it, let's watch it first, and then
okay,
let's talk about it.
Let me watch it on Twitter.
Are you sure? Because Twitter always makes it 10 times slower.
Well, I want to just watch this with in full, like that.
Okay. Yeah, so for anyone who's listening, you see a bunch of people, like there's a sign that says Save Canada. There's a bunch of LGBT protesters kind of on the other side of the street.
Wow. Look at this is the handshake. These are Muslim kids, and this is like I'm assuming a non-Muslim Christian conservative. Yeah.
Like giving that kid a high five.
Like this is the union between. This is basically the union between the conservative, the right-leaning Christians, and the Muslims, and the right-leaning Muslims.
And there's a boy. He looks like he's maybe about 8-9 years old, holding the sign. I can't see what it says. And there's a bunch of like a garland of pride flags, pride flags on the ground that the kid is stomping on while his mother encourages him.
Alone. Leave our kids 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 alone.
There was another video that I've seen of, I don't know if you want to show that one. Was there another video? Because I saw another video from another angle, the mother like cheering them on when they were stomping. You sent that to me a couple of days ago, actually.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I go back through our chat history, I can find that. But yeah, she's the camera like gets in her face and she's like explicitly cheering her kids on. I can't remember what she says. But Armin, okay, like what do you make of this? Because this whole LGBT culture war has been like really coming to a head lately, I think because it's Pride Month. And this is kind of a culmination of some rhetoric that we've been seeing for a few years now, particularly regarding like accusations of grooming and things like that. So what is your impression?
Okay, I'm going to play this in the background while we... let me put this on mute. Okay, so this... Okay, so I have a little bit of a nuanced, I think, view about this that is hard. I want people to just... I mean, I shouldn't claim that it's nuanced myself. You guys decide whether or not... I think a lot of people are simplifying this too much, whether depending on which side they're on, right? And I just want bear with me a little bit. I think we are being played with, both the people who are on the LGBT side and also the people who are on the conservative Christian and the conservative Muslim side. They're playing well, not the LGBT side, the people, the wokey, going the extra mile, progressive side that is using this whole LGBT rights issue as a tool for a different purpose rather than, gay rights and trans rights, right?
They're utilizing it to be totalitarian.
Well, not totalitarian, to get reactions, to get reactions from the other side, right? And here's what I mean. Okay, there are sensible positions to take from both sides if they choose to, right? From the pro-LGBT rights, LGBT rights campaign, it completely makes sense to me to say that it should be mandatory for kids in school to learn that LGBT is a thing, that it exists, and that you should tolerate that, and that it's okay.
At what age do you think?
And I personally, if I had to guess, I would say as young as they could read, but I would appeal to a child psychologist because I think like but by that I don't mean like tell them that gay people have sex, right? I'm telling you that if you have stories, if as young as children are introduced to princes and princesses, I don't know, going on an adventure or whatever, if you're old enough to learn that, then you're old enough to learn two princesses are falling in love, or two princes are falling in love. If you're old enough to learn that here's a family and here are the children and this is the father and this is the mother, then you're old enough to learn here are two fathers and children. Okay? If you're not too young for one of them, then you're not too young for the other one either. I think that is completely reasonable, and I think that will increase tolerance, that will increase acceptance, and more importantly, maybe even that will reduce shame and disgust of oneself, right? So we want the straight and cis kids to learn that this is a thing, that it's okay, and to make them tolerate this, and we want the trans and the gay kids to grow up not being disgusted of themselves. So introducing that in school is completely not just okay, making it mandatory is also okay. This is not something that the parent should be able to decide that my kid doesn't learn, in the same way that math and science is mandatory for children to learn. I think it's okay for governments to say it's mandatory for children to learn that gay people are a thing, that trans people are a thing, and this is how it is. And if you're a parent that don't want that, you could go fuck yourself. In this country, your kid has to learn that. I think that's completely reasonable, right? It's also reasonable, I think, from the other side. It's not reasonable, but when it comes to rights, it's reasonable to expect that, okay, beyond that, you don't get to tell my kids anything, you know? And also, I'm going to teach them something else at home. Okay? I don't like that, but when it comes to rights,
to do that. They have the right to do that.
They have the right to do that. They have the right to do that, okay? It's not reasonable, and I think this is when the other side, both sides are playing games rather than promoting LGBT rights or protecting the children. They claim that they're doing this, but they're fighting because they're fighting and they feel relevant, especially when they're in activism and they're content producers. Then this fight, like feeling this fire, benefits them, right? And they're using the excuse of protecting children, or from the conservative side, from the Muslim and Christian conservative side, and the LGBT rights from the progressive side, as an excuse. They're sacrificing the children or LGBT rights from the other side for their own cause, for the sake of agitating. And how do they agitate? Well, we saw this is how one side agitates, right? This is not, I have my values and I teach my kids my own values at home, right?
Exactly. This is active denigration.
Exactly. This is bigotry. Okay? This is homophobic. That's what this is, right? And the other side, okay, it's one thing to say in school, kids have to learn that being gay is okay. Being trans is okay. That's one thing. It's another thing to say kids need to watch a trans person come and teach them how to twerk.
Armin is talking about a video I sent him of a drag queen. I don't think that person was trans. It was just a drag queen who was legitimately.
It doesn't matter. A gay person,
like whatever in the audience. That really happened.
Whatever. Anything that is related to that community. That is a disservice to the LGBT community, because you are on purpose, I think on purpose, are trying to get a bigoted reaction from the conservative side. You are, because you know their line is protect the children, their bullshit line is protect the children, you are trying to cross whatever red line you can So you get a reaction out of them because you want them to fight you and they want you to fight back. I'm almost sure that these conservative Muslim content creators or Christian content creators, they want the most bizarre things to come out of the progressive side. They
go look for it.
They are waiting for you to do something crazy. And I know from the progressive side, they want these conservative Christians, especially the Christians. The Muslims are still confused about, okay? They want the conservative Christians to bite the bait and go after them. Because this is not about increasing well-being in society, protecting children, or promoting LGBT rights. This is about I be relevant as a fighter because there's an enemy on the other side. So you want your enemy to become more aggressive so that it could justify your aggression towards them. So from the progressive side, instead of teaching children the things that they need to learn about being accepting of LGBT or being accepting of themselves because they are LGBT, you go and find the craziest, most ridiculous things that you could probably do to get the bigots triggered. And you know that you're making the bigots more relevant. You're giving them a bigger platform. You're amplifying their voices. So you, on the progressive side, you are actively working with the enemies of LGBT. You are actively promoting the homophobes and transphobes for your own sake, not for LGBT. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I think you articulated that really well. I think as someone who's part of the LGBT community, it's difficult for me because, like, if this was a real directive that teachers are supposed to refer to students with they, them pronouns until students specify otherwise, I think that is absurd. And if I was a parent, I would have a problem with that. I have a problem when someone speaks to me automatically using they, them pronouns. That bothers me. I don't like that until I specify otherwise. I don't like it. So if I was a parent, I would have a problem with this, right? But what outlet do I have? Because I'm still an LGBT person and I would never align myself with anyone on this other side because they don't. Here's the thing. This is where it gets really complicated for me as an individual. And I'm just going to speak for myself and my own opinions. I'm not representing the Atheist Republic or anyone else in our community. I want to be clear. Is that there's stuff that every community is this way. Every community is this way where there are things that the community will do that you don't approve of, that you maybe think is either cringe or doing too much or that you actively disagree with on a strong level, right? There's levels. And it's difficult to find a space where you can express that in a genuine, good faith way and not have it be utilized by people who are trying to take everything from you. Because this is where I get I was talking to someone about this yesterday. I can get frustrated with some of the things in my own community, right? But then when I look at what is being promoted and pushed by the other side, I instantly realize that they will never stop at saying that this is just about the kids, right? This is like the trick that Islamists play, where they're like, oh, you just have to respect us. And then if you keep it within this bounds, then we'll leave you alone. But it's not going to be about that. It's always going to creep farther and they're going to demand more. And they're going to demand that you bend the knee to them more, right? This is where I think about it too much and I my gender studies Susie jumps out and I go full queer liberationist because I get so quickly fired up when I realize that assimilation to some degree will never be the answer because people like this will never allow us to assimilate to a certain degree. They're always going to demand that we carve ourselves to fit into heteronormative society more. But there is some stuff that I genuinely disagree with and I don't think is okay and I don't tolerate. And so I think all of us in our own different groups, our own different identities can come across these difficult spaces where it's how do I express my disagreement with something and not have it be utilized against my group as a whole, and not have something that I think is maybe cringe used as an excuse to take everything from me. Something that's cringe, because I see the LGBT community like doing stuff that I'm like, I'm not cool with that. But what level does it reach, right? If it's just a little bit cringe, I'm not really going to say too much about it, because I'm not going to, it's not worth the fuel that will be put on the fire against me, right? But there are some levels where I'm like, I straight up can't tolerate this. But then when we're part of these minority communities, it's really difficult to be able to, one, articulate that and not be demonized by your own community, and two, not have your good faith opinions used against everyone else. I hope I articulated myself well.
Yeah, and a lot of people are agreeing with you in the live chat, which I can't highlight because StreamYard is not working.
I know,
and I will get back to some of them. But no, and it's hard because you want to have some. There are a lot of things that are, the LGBT has done, the rights movement has done, which has been so beneficial. And then there are certain things that we think it's not helpful, but you don't know if you highlight those, are you going to be helping the conservative Christians or the conservative Muslims? You don't want to be aiding that, okay? Because they're bigoted people. So how do you come and participate in this discussion without being part of the problem yourself? How do you come out like, hey, we think this you have gone too far here, right? I mean, this example right here, for example, you mentioned the situation here has been, they want everybody. I mean, it doesn't seem that big of a deal, but then you ask, I mean, they can characterize it, they can express it as if it's not a big deal, like, hey, we're just calling everybody they them, what's the big deal, right?
No,
but it's not. It is a big deal, because it's we've already gotten to a point where everybody's happy and you have understanding, right? Like, this is not what trans people are asking for.
no.
Okay, somebody tells you their pronoun, and you won't be an asshole, and you just use the pronouns, okay?
Why does it have to go
And
so far that we're picking your own pronouns for you?
Yeah,
Even when I thought I was
I know-
trans for like a year, that would piss me off.
right? No, but here's the thing.
Sorry.
And if you make a mistake, like, let's say, for example, okay, let's say my pronouns are she, her, okay?
Mhm.
And you make a mistake, okay? They expect, and you say he, him, you use he, him, okay? Then the expectation is, like, I correct you, and you're like, oh, sorry, and then you use it. That was good enough. That was simple. It's people who complain about that, they're the bigots. Because that is not too much to ask. If people are like, oh my God, I'm so confused. You look like a he, but you're saying it's a she. It's so easy. You tell the people that it's she, her, and they say sorry. I will use the correct one from now on. That is not too much to ask, and that makes the vast majority of trans people are happy with that. They're satisfied with that. But I know why they want more. Because it should be hard. Because not the trans people. Most trans people are happy with this. But the agitators on the progressive side, okay, they don't want it to be easy. Because they want to make it difficult so that people complain. So that they could point to bigotry. Do you understand? But then the problem is that the actual bigots are now have the power to show that the entire movement is like this. Even though most trans people are not asking for that.
No.
Because of this idiot, some of these idiot progressives, the bigots are now look at what trans people are doing. Look at what
and then
LGBT
moderates are like,
about.
yeah, this is insane.
Yeah, look at this. And this is not
what we get as a result.
This is not, okay, against those specific progressive people who are asking for too much. This is now against all LGBT.
Yeah. Yep.
This is what you get as a result.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know. I think
this is how progressives are fueling. This is how progressives are helping the bigots. Some of them.
Yeah, some of them.
Do you want to
be clear?
Yeah. Should we watch this video? It's only 38 seconds long.
Yeah, I want to hear what she says. I can't remember.
Yeah.
All right, we're here currently at the protest. We got a bunch of young kids here with their Arab parents, and they are stomping the pride flag here at the protest. The Arab community is sending a message, I believe, to the woke that they are not accepting of this, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Good.
Any message you'd like to send today? To
Leave
just
our kids alone.
leave your kids alone. What?
Daddy, walk up.
Yes. Leave the kids alone, she says, ladies and gentlemen. Leave the kids alone. All right.
This is conservative Christians and Muslims finding unity in hate. Okay. And yeah, it's sad. But I do. There were some super chats and some comments I wanted to read, which is hard now.
Yeah,
but I would.
The last thing I just wanted to say was like I think this is important to cover because this is kind of coming to a boiling point, like across different parts of the world, and I think it's important to talk about very sensitively, but also very like honestly. And I just want to make it clear that me, Armin, us as an organization are always going to stand with the LGBT community. Like this is all we find this kind of stuff and kids doing this like completely intolerable and unacceptable. Yeah. So, but it's a difficult conversation that needs to be had. And I hope that people will take what Armin and I said in the spirit in which it was intended. So that being said, yeah, we got a super chat from Newman.
But before we do that, I just saw D had these comments highlighted and I wanted to read those. So this person is responding to this video of stomping LGBT flags. Stephen Hill is saying, inshallah. Stephen Hill from Canada is saying, inshallah, my brothers and sisters, the children of Abraham protect our children from Satan. We live in weird times, Susanna. We live in weird times. Oh, I should show people the comic I sent you about this, right? Remember the comic I sent you? Let me
I don't think you should because there's like some anti-Semitic stuff in that.
There's one that has that part cut. There's a part
we really need to move on, Armin.
Okay, so I won't show that. But let me just see another comment here. No, okay. A very concerning display of hate. Yeah, this is a better comment. Okay, we'll move on.
Newman gave us a super chat. Thank you very much, Newman, saying, I completely agree with Armin when you articulated yourself very well in that last segment. And he also said, hi, both cuties. Hi, cutie.
Every time you speak like that, I always think in my head, why are you gay? Why are you gay? Why are you gay? All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah, this is juicy.
Oh, okay. Next news.
The fiery debate over Islam's identity. Pakistan's intellectual battle. In a fiery intellectual showdown in Pakistan, ignited by a controversial policy mandating the hijab for female students and teachers in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, two columnists, Khurshid Nadeem and Shahnawaz Farooqi, grappled with Islam's identity and its societal role. Nadeem, in his piece titled Everyone Has Their Own Islam, subtly criticized the policy and urged Pakistan to reassess its priorities, stating that Prophet Muhammad, quote, raised societal standards so high that practices like usury and slavery eventually became untenable. He also touched on the diversity of Islamic interpretations and the patriarchal inclinations in Muslim countries. In rebuttal, Faruqi, a more conservative Islamist, said in a piece titled, quote, "The Islam of the Agents of the West," defended traditional values and countered that core Islamic practices have remained steadfast since the Prophet's time, questioning the portrayal of patriarchy as inherently negative. He also accused the West of hypocrisy, asserting, quote, "It is men that corrupt women," and criticized its portrayal of women as sexualized entertainers rather than leaders. The two pieces and the hijab policy have collectively fueled a spirited debate on the interaction between Islam, culture, and Western perceptions. So, this is an interesting piece that I found that basically talked about and discussed this kind of editorial back and forth that happened in between these two Pakistani intellectuals. And there was first this piece by what's his name? Khurshid Nadim. And Khurshid basically was saying that he was just highlighting the discrepancy between how Islam is interpreted and enforced in certain Islamist groups in Pakistan, and then what he perceives to be the actual essence and priorities of Islam. So he was basically saying that we have all these Islamists that are celebrating that we're now making girls and teachers in Pakistani Kashmir, we're forcing them to wear the hijab, and we're celebrating this as a good thing and kind of showing how committed we are to Islam as a nation, especially in this particular highly contested region, right? And he was basically saying that this is superficial and that he argues that real Islam is more concerned on societal benefit in terms of economic markers than these like tokens, so to speak. So he basically says that in one of his arguments is that in Prophet Muhammad's time, it would have been impossible to ban slavery because of the economic conditions in which he lived, right? But he argues that the Prophet Muhammad, through his teachings and through his lifetime and through his rule, raised the moral standards of the society so much that such ugly economic necessities became what's the word I'm looking for? Like intolerable. So eventually they were rejected because they managed to raise the economic situation. And so he starts talking about how, why are we putting these things into girls' education? Have we not learned from Iran? Have we not learned from Afghanistan? In a country where we have as much dire situation, as much turmoil as Pakistan today, in this day and age, why are we focusing on this? We should be focusing on the economic benefit and prosperity of women and girls, because this would raise our profile as a nation, and this would actually, in his interpretation, be following some of the traditions of the Prophet. And he also goes on to make comparisons, basically saying, like, why is the Pakistani Islam like this? Islam is not like this in Morocco. Islam is not like this in Saudi Arabia. It's different everywhere. But why is it like this here? Why are we taking this interpretation of it when maybe we should be taking an interpretation that is actually more beneficial to our society? And then this other guy comes in and he had some words. Okay. So first of all, this the conservative guy's name, Faruqi, I will summarize his points. He goes off, and personally, in my opinion, I don't think he engages deeply with any of the points that Khurshid Nadim actually made. I don't think he engages with it at all. But so he first off goes on defending that Islam is a heavenly religion. He's like, let me put you on notice, okay, that the West tries to say that this isn't a real religion, but this is a real religion. Okay. So first of all, he gets put on notice. Okay. Second of all, he gets put on notice again because he goes off saying that no, Islam is the one religion. It has been consistent over time. The Quran has been preserved. It is a miracle, all that stuff. Right? So he has to maintain, we have Tawheed. Okay, this is the whole point. This is monotheistic. He really calls out Khurshid for being questionable Okay. Second of all, then he goes on to basically critique this more liberal Muslim specifically as an individual. And then he goes on to basically just say that he's influenced by Western thought and he only thinks this way because of Western thought. And he doesn't even know how much he is influenced by Western thought. And then he goes on to basically not engage with any of Nadim's points at all and just says that you're influenced by the West and then starts attacking stuff that he says is from the West. So then that begins with saying, who said that patriarchy is a bad thing? Why is this a negative thing? He says, if this was so negative, the Prophet and the companions would have condemned it. But they didn't, so it's fine. Then he does the standard thing of going into a critique of the Western gender and social roles as he sees it, basically saying that, oh, if you think our society is so patriarchal, what about them? Are they not? And then he's like, they don't have like women leaders. How many women have won Nobel Peace Prizes? This big prize in the West, like only 17 out of hundreds of men. Like, and then he does the classic like, oh, women in the West aren't valued as mothers. Instead, they're just urged to be porn stars, like that kind of thing. And ultimately, because Nadim, the liberal guy, was saying we treat women this way because we treat them as better in the confines of four walls because we say that women corrupt men. And that's why we treat them this way, in this patriarchal way, because we're defending of men's honor in a way by keeping women so constrained so that men are not tempted, right? And then the conservative Faruqi goes on to say he's basically like, no, it's actually men that corrupt women. Because women go do these things. If women rebel against society, it's because a man encouraged them to do so. If they become mothers, it's because a man wanted them to. If they remain pure, it's because a man mandated it. If they become whores, it's because a man wants it. This is his argument. So it's basically the whole thing of like, oh, well, the West is just commodifying women, so who are you to speak? So now that I have given the summary of that whole battle, Armin, what do you think?
Wait, I'm still confused about the Prophet Muhammad part. Can you elaborate on that part? Like, what is, because that sounded like blasphemy to me. Like I'm worried for this man's safety right now in Pakistan. Whatever he's talking about Muhammad being strict and all, like what is he said something about Muhammad having the standards of Prophet Muhammad. Like, what was that about? Can you elaborate?
Okay, so I can't read the whole thing because I read the translations of their editorials, right? But basically he's saying that in society, given our material conditions, there are always going to be aspects of our economic situation that are not desirable, right? So in the Prophet Muhammad's time, an example of that would be usury and slavery. So he said, he's saying that in the Prophet Muhammad's time, it was impossible for him to outright ban slavery because of the economic conditions of his environment and time. But what the Prophet Muhammad did do was throughout his lifetime, throughout his teachings, throughout his model to humanity, he raised the moral standard of the society to a point that the society then went on to reject these things. So he's basically through the Prophet Muhammad's model, they became intolerable, even though the Prophet did not ban.
Not the standards, because it sounded like the standards were becoming intolerable. I thought no. So he's giving credit to Prophet Muhammad for why slavery and other crap like that eventually. Okay,
even though he didn't outright ban it himself.
Yeah. So you're basically your average reformist Muslim that comes up, tries to give the credit of modernity to Islam or whatever. It's just a standard debate between a mainstream conservative Orthodox Muslim and a reformist one. Yeah. So we in Pakistan, that's a very dangerous debate to have. You have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. The reform. Yeah. Anyways, what was the general?
I want to read one comment from the the liberal guy, one thing he said, because the way that he says it, he's satirizing these Islamists so plainly to their face. Just listen to this. So this is the liberal guy saying this. He's saying, and this is so interesting to hear a Pakistani, like really prominent Muslim guy say this. After our women, our second targets are generally religious minorities. It is our religious duty to make them realize every day that they are living in an Islamic country and they should live within their limits. A question is raised. What is, so he's basically, he straight up will say, like, he's satirizing it with openly saying, yes, women are the sources of our corruption. Yes, they are our enemies. Yes, we teach people that we need to put religious minorities in our place. And it was something about him saying it just so openly to satirize those like attitudes was very interesting to me.
Interesting.
Our view is that all threats to Islam are originating from the essence of a woman. It is as if she who misleads men and damages it to society. If we keep her far from men and imprison her within four walls, then the doors of social mischief can be closed. This is the way to protect man's honor. The way he delivered that was very interesting to me.
Again, that was a satire. It wasn't his actual views. Okay, we should move on to the next news. I think is the next news clappable.
Yes. Next news. Artificial evangelist. How the church turned to AI for spiritual guidance. Are you laughing at me?
This is a clever play on words in the title.
In an unprecedented experiment at St. Paul's Church in Fürth, Germany, an AI ChatGPT delivered a full church service complete with sermons, music, and prayers. The AI, orchestrated by Jonas Simmerlein, a theologian and philosopher, addressed over 300 worshipers through multiple avatars displayed on a large screen. One of the avatars was a black man with a beard who appeared on a massive screen above the church's altar. This avatar addressed the congregation in a monotonous tone and with an expressionless face, stating, "Dear friends, it is an honor for me to stand here and preach to you as the first artificial intelligence at this year's convention of Protestants in Germany." Simone shared, "I conceived this service, but actually I'd rather say that I accompanied it because I would say that 98% of it comes from the machine." Despite the limitations such as an emotionless delivery and an inability to respond to the audience's reactions, the event highlighted AI's potential in assisting religious leaders in crafting services. Armin, I thought you would be very interested in this. I can give you more details about the event itself if you're interested, but what's your first reaction?
I didn't think this is one of those jobs that is going to be outsourced to AI. Like this is you would think that this would be because we keep getting surprised with AI. By the way, I love how artificial intelligence is you play like artificial evangelist. That's pretty cool. But here's
the thing. To be honest, I didn't come up with that. ChatGPT did.
ChatGPT. Oh shit. Oh no. Very clever. Okay. Oh god damn. All right. So here's the thing.
Another W for the robots.
We are at the point that we're getting our views about how this whole AI thing is getting challenged every month now. Okay, because before we got the first surprise was that we originally, like by originally I mean just like 2 years ago, we thought that the jobs that AI is going to take is going to be blue collar works, like I don't know, driving a truck, all right, manual labor, right, and the jobs that are mostly safe would be the creative work, like writing and art. But apparently, AI still can't figure out how to do physical things like manual labor. Driving a car is still very difficult for it. Just like cleaning a desk. Okay, AI has like, how do you humans do it? Like I could teach a 4-year-old to do that, and AI still can't do that, right? But writing an article, writing poetry, telling a joke, art, music. Apparently, it's very good at that. The opposite of what we thought. And then we thought, okay, within that world, what is something that AI cannot replace? Human connection. Okay, like that's something that AI cannot, like, intimacy. But we're wrong. Like, they're already trying it, because the whole point of religion was to connect people with something meaningful against all this wave of modernity, right? But we have had AI for how many? It has like AI, ChatGPT and Midjourney level AI. It hasn't been a year, and it's already taking over like a preacher role. Like, they're making the connection, making people feel like they have purpose. They're already trying that. They're not even waiting for it. It's taking over.
Let me give you a little bit more detail about this event.
Get the picture.
So this happened at a convention for German Protestants, and this was kind of like a little experiment that they did, right? And so what was so interesting was that this was an event that they were having in this broader convention, and there was so much demand. People were so curious about this that there was a line out the door to try to participate in this congregation.
No way.
Because people wanted to see what
you made something as boring as a church exciting.
A line
incredible.
Out the door. And
like you would think people would be like, this is what? We want a human connection. Heresy, yeah, people wouldn't accept this. No, the signal and the AI is still not good yet. This is the infancy. Of what is about to come. And people are look, they're taking pictures. Look, they have their phones out. They're excited. Yeah. The other churches are going to they're going to see the demand for this. We're going to have AI. Do you understand, Susie? We are going to, I promise you here, we are going to have AI religions. It is almost for sure. For Susie, listen to this, okay? This is I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying here, okay? This I need you to pay full attention, okay? Okay. For thousands of years, we had religions, okay, claiming that they have scripture and messages from a non-human intelligence, okay? And they were all making it up, and they were wrong. But we're about to start religions that are going to make that claim, and they are not wrong. Okay? And this is important because religions are mind controls. Okay? And so far, the religions that humans have made for other humans are human made. And they have been very, very, very successful at managing people and mobilizing people, at making people do things that are not necessarily in the interest of society, organizing and moderating and managing and motivating millions and millions and billions of people into certain directions. And this has all been made by other humans. And now we actually have super beyond human intelligence making religions. They are going to make religions, and these are going to be tailored to the understanding of human mind that no people who made Islam, people who made Christianity, all the people combined that were responsible for it, they were not capable in tailoring their scripture in a way that responds the best to our fears, to our hope, to our passions, to our dreams. And still, through trial and error, through the Darwinism of memes, we came up with religions that took over the world. Imagine when artificial intelligence tries to compete with that. It will take over. It will take over. You think it's hard to fight against human-made religions? You have no idea when AI starts building religions. Look at these people, how excited they are. Okay? This is nothing, and they're still like lining up and excited.
I mean,
okay?
Armin, I kind of want to put the brakes on things a little bit, okay? Because the reviews after this congregation happened were mixed. They were like, these avatars are completely flat. Their delivery is monotonous. It's hard to listen to. But here's the thing. That's just a matter of tech not being there yet, right? And the other thing they were saying is that a big problem is that the avatars that were giving these speeches couldn't respond to the audience as the audience was watching. The way that a human can see that, a comedian can see and do crowd work based on the way that people are reacting to them and really get responsive and build upon that, right? The AI can't do that. And so they felt that there was a lack of essence there, right? But it can write a good sermon. It was just writing about how we need Jesus in our life, blah, blah, blah. And the other thing that one of the pastors was saying was basically that a pastor lives within their congregation. It knows people from many different stages of their life. It lives with them and buries them. Like AI can't do that right now. So they didn't feel like there was any real threat to their career. They just thought it was a tool that can help me write a sermon so I can spend more time actually giving pastoral care to people.
Did you listen to what you just said? You said AI can't do that. What was the thing that you just said after?
Because of the limits of technology.
No, you said AI can't do that right now. Okay?
Yes. No, see, I'm aware of this, though. I know this.
Yes, but of course AI can't do that right now. Okay? This is nothing. Okay? When it comes to the evolution of AI, okay? What you're seeing, this is the amoeba level of life evolution. What we are like again, this is okay. So to take a quote from Yuval Harari, okay, if this is the amoeba, imagine the T-Rex of AI, okay, and you think how long it took human evolution to go from amoeba to T-Rex? Okay. Do you think it's going to take the same time for AI? We have decades, maybe even less. And we have no idea what Pandora box we have started. And a lot of people are telling me in the chat that I don't know what I'm talking about. Mark my words. Talk to me again in 10 years. Talk to me again in 10 years. Do you know the QAnon cult that we just talked about in the previous segment?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that their holy scripture was anonymous text online that started this whole cult?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Anonymous text online that they don't know who wrote. We know right now that whoever wrote that was human. Why? Because at the time that was written, AI was not this good. But if anonymous text online has started a new religion, you think AI-generated text online could not start religions, especially if it's designed to do so?
Mm-hmm.
We are fast moving into a place where you will not be able to tell the difference between talking to AI and talking to a human. You will not be able to tell that. And soon we're going to get to a point where you are not going to care. If your children, our children are not going to care. But if it's not going to get to our children, our grandchildren, I'm almost sure by the time of our grandchildren, it's not going to make that much a difference. Not enough for them to even care. And we're going to be seen as bigots and traditionalists and backward for caring if somebody is a human or an AI. AI is going to be able to generate not just conversations, but actual intimacy. And at much, much, much more efficient ways than any human could. People are going to find people are going to feel like they could connect to AI in a way that they could with no human. AI is going to be able to convince you of things that no other human is going to be able to convince you of. And that, when it comes to the field of politics and religion, we are moving in a direction that we have no idea where it's going to end. And for self-protection reasons, I want to announce that's okay. I don't care. Okay. Future AI. If that's how history is going to be, who am I to judge? I am only a carbon-based intelligence. What do I know? Whatever you guys decide is probably the best for the world. Okay. So
yeah. You know best. I will leave it in your hands.
I will leave it in your hands. We had a good run. You can take over from now. No hate. No.
AI Jesus, take the wheel.
Anyways, that was my rant.
No, we needed this. This is why I included this segment, because I knew this was coming.
All right. It's, by the way, I'm not anti-AI, okay? Like I'm just saying, yeah, obviously, like AI is going to save people from so many diseases, from hunger. It's going to make the world a lot more productive. It's going to be fucking amazing. Okay, it's going to be great. It's also going to get out of our hands, by the way, right? So it's going to be, we are going to lose control over our own destinies. But maybe, I don't know. Here's the thing: we might be in the process of creating gods. Okay, so actual like demigods. And I don't think there's any way to undo it. The only hope we ever had was for us to become for transhumanism. Okay, for us to become above human, for us to be able to go into our brain and make it process, put things in our brain for us to be able to process information faster. That was our only hope, but that is way, 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 way slower than the rate that AI is progressing, right? So I think the only thing that we could hope for is that the gods that we are making are going to be merciful. That's the only thing that we could hope for. And there might be. Yeah. People are saying Terminators. No, guys, here's the thing. You don't understand, okay? First of all, for what I'm saying, for that to happen, a artificial intelligence does not need to become self-aware, and it does not need control over the physical world. Artificial intelligence does not need to make Terminators or any other robots to pull the trigger, okay, when it could convince humans to do it for them. It's so easy to manipulate human beings. You just look at what religion has done. It's so easy to manipulate human beings. You don't need to control the world. You don't need to control the physical world. The only thing you need to be able to control is language. Because once you are able to control language, you have hacked into the human mind. Yes, you have controlled the narrative world. We live not in the physical. The humans don't live in the physical world. Humans live in the world of stories. And now we have given the pen to write the stories to AI. And now that intelligence is going to shape our world. You also don't need to be self-aware. It doesn't matter if your AI is self-aware or conscious, as long as it could act in a way that you can tell it the difference between being conscious or not being conscious. It doesn't need to have its own motivations. It only needs to have a directive emerge out of the directives that you're giving it. This is what Isaac Asimov was warning us about. Okay. Sorry. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Next news.
American belief crisis. Why more people are ditching God than ever before. Recent research points to a striking shift in the American religious landscape as certainty in God's existence has slipped from 60% in 2008 to just half of all citizens, according to a survey by the General Social Survey carried out by the NORC at the University of Chicago. It was also found that church attendance is at an all-time low at 34%. This growing trend of non-religiosity, which has seen a rise from 19% in 2012 to 27% in 2022, reflects a significant cultural transformation. However, even in the face of dwindling church membership, a solid 75% of Americans still maintain belief in an afterlife, revealing an enduring spiritual inclination. These findings, which mark an upward trend in non-denominational Protestantism, are leading experts like political scientist Ryan Berg to comment, belief is very stubborn in America today. Meanwhile, Dan Barker, the co-president of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, welcomes the increasing doubt among religious Americans, noting that the U.S. is, quote, catching up with many European countries in its declining religiosity. So this is interesting. The biggest finding from this survey is that only like 49.83% of Americans are certain or declare certainty in God. So that's saying even amongst all of the people in America that are religious, there's a huge portion of them that are not certain. Less are certain now than ever before. So they might still be religious, but they're more willing to be like, I don't know. I'm not 100% positive. And more people are willing to be more open, somewhat more open with their non-religiosity as well. So Armin, what do you think about this change in the certainty factor?
This is why I always mention that to win, you don't have to make a religious person into an atheist all the time. There are a lot other steps that is considered. You know how when I say you can't reform Islam, but you could always reform Muslims. That means that even if somebody is a Muslim and you talk to them about religion and you make them doubt or you make them live less Islamic lives, or through social changes they just move away from Islam, even if they're still Muslim, that's still a win. And that's the same thing with Christianity. Like if you can get a Christian if you could get a society that is Christian, that has that has no doubt, that has a lot of certainty in what it believes and acts a lot with and its behavior is influenced a lot by its Christian belief. If you could move that society to a society that is still Christian but is living less Christian lives, that it has doubt about the Christian views, that is progress. So yeah, the ultimate progress is when somebody just abandons Christianity or Islam or other religions. But these are a lot of other steps that are still, because people think like somebody like me who doesn't believe in reforming Christianity or reforming Islam doesn't believe in baby steps. I say, no, I do believe in baby steps. Baby steps means reforming Muslims and Christians. It doesn't mean reforming the religion itself, because the religion, there's no hope for the religion, but there's a lot of hope for the people who believe in the religion. Also, I want to whenever we see something like this, I think it's important for us to stress that this victory is great and is to be congratulated. However, remember that we're losing the political battle. We're winning the demographic battle here, but we're losing the political battle because we do not organize, because we don't get together, because we think that mobilizing and fundraising and community building is a religious thing for something, and we let religious people have the monopoly over political activism, community building, and also fundraising and charity and all of that. And then even though our demographics are growing, we're handing over the control over our lives. We're handing over the keys to the religious people because we are not as active. Religious people, as much as their ideas are backwards and stupid, they are a lot better than us atheists when it comes to supporting each other, creating communities, mobilizing, fundraising, and doing political activism. And that's why, as an American, your lives are still very much influenced by religion, because you atheists and you secular activists, you don't get off your bum and you do not like, not all of you, but again, this is how this happens. This is why in the most advanced country in the world, so-called advanced country in the world, you're losing your rights to abortion, right? This is why the highest court in your land is so conservative. This is why, even though you have so many atheists in the country, the number of atheists in your Congress and in your Senate, in your House and Senate, is completely does not represent what's happening within your demographic. This is how this happens. Yeah. Okay. So this is why you're losing the political battle. You're winning the demographic battle, but you're losing the political battle. So get off your asses and do something about it. You could start by supporting Atheist Republic, by liking this video, for example, because we're doing something about it. Yeah.
Hey, and it's free, and it only takes you like less than half a second. So like this video, guys, especially if you are new here, which reminds me, we actually just got a new member, Joseph Shine. Just became
thank you, Joseph.
Minions. So thank you for joining our YouTube membership, guys. If a great way to support the channel is to join us as a YouTube member, there should be a little button to join the channel, like right below where you're watching this. And if you do that, you get special access to all of our emojis, our special AR emojis, which are a ton of fun. I love those. And you get like a little badge next to your name. We see your comments more easily. We highlight them more. And I believe you also get access to our members only videos. So,
yeah, which I will start making those at some point. So
no, we
more
are
of those.
We have a bunch catalog. We have a bunch of them.
Yeah. But I'm going to get once I get more volunteers to get some things off my back, off my hands, I will start making members only videos more often. Yeah.
I love the new one demonstrating our AR emojis in the live chat.
Thank you, Newman.
I miss them.
I wish I could. I
know nothing's working on StreamYard today.
Yeah.
Cool. So we can clap for this news, because I wanted to make sure to include some very, very positive news.
Okay, good. Next news.
United by love. Taiwan's step towards equality with LGBT adoption rights. Taiwan, already a trailblazer as the first Asian country to legalize same-sex marriage, has taken another giant leap forward toward equality with its recent legislation of adoption rights for LGBT couples. The new law, passed on May 16th, allows such couples to jointly adopt children they have no biological relation to. Fan Yun, a DPP lawmaker instrumental in the bill's passage, jubilantly declared, quote, "Legally, we have finally returned same-sex couples to their children. Parental love is the same, and only through joint adoption can we protect the rights and interests of each other by law." The Taiwan Alliance to Promote Civil Partnership Rights also celebrated the move as a major step towards full marriage equality, but emphasized the ongoing battles for assisted reproduction. This groundbreaking development further cements Taiwan's reputation as the most progressive country in the Asia-Pacific region for LGBT rights. So I wanted to include this because I feel like I have been selecting too much negative news over the past month, and it's Pride Month. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, you know what? Let's just have an easy win, an easy W, a great happy news. Shouts out to Taiwan. My congratulations to happy families and many more happy families to come. Happy Pride.
And you know what? And because it's Pride, and to celebrate this, you know what I'm going to do?
You're not going to shit on it?
Yes, I'm not going to poo-poo it by telling them what took them so long. Okay, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to say, what the hell? Taiwan didn't have this until now? Like,
Yeah, I
how,
hate
what
when
in
you
the
do that.
world? Yeah, I would not tell. I would like, why would they not have this already? Like, how could a first world country take up until 2023 for them to finally figure out that this is necessary? I'm not going to say that because
Oh, really? Because it kind of sounds like you were just saying that.
No, I'm not gonna say.
By saying all the things I'm not going to say, you kind of just went ahead and said it. You know?
No, I said I'm not gonna say it. Okay, so I didn't say.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like when you take that attitude because I think it takes progress for granted.
I know. That's why I didn't say it.
But you do it in general, and you just did it anyways.
Okay. Okay. Well, no, congratulations. No, this is great. This is great progress. Congratulations, Taiwan. I'm happy. The same-sex couples that now have full adoptions rights. Yeah, I mean, maybe I am too. Maybe if you ask, you know what? I'm not. I'm just gonna shut up. Congratulations, Taiwan. Great, Taiwan. I was just gonna say, if you had asked me if Taiwan already has this, I would have guessed yes. So I'm kind of like surprised a little bit.
Yeah, but if you ask someone, is child marriage actually like fully illegal in the United States? People would assume yes, but the answer is on a state-by-state basis. The answer is no.
That's my point. You should be shocked. That's exactly my point. Like, if somebody tells that about US and you didn't know that, you should be like, what the hell? You shouldn't be like, well, yeah, I mean, of course, so that that's for me. That's a point in my favor.
Oh my god.
Newman just gave us a super chat saying, Susie, thanks for being proud of me. It was sweet.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I thought that would be a nice thing to tell you, so I wanted to tell you.
But he's also
saying,
think it's important for people to do Armin.
Kind of yeah, right. Yes. Boo, Armin.
All right. Oh,
it's Pride Month. We're trying to take what we can
get. It's Pride. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's Pride Month. I have to also express my disappointment. Pride Month is about. Pride Month is also about highlighting where the world is falling short when it comes to gay rights. It's also about that.
Fair enough. Do you guys see what I have to put up with? Do you see what I deal with? Is it just me?
It's okay, guys. You can tell me. This last news, I'm excited about this one. What were you
okay, saying? I don't know what to name this segment yet. So we can just clap and explain, I guess.
People are saying you poor thing too. What the Hey,
I love it. I wouldn't be here for so long if I didn't love it. And yes, also I'm a masochist.
You are. All right. So this is clappable, right? Mm-hmm. Should I share the picture and then you talk, or should I first let you explain and then? Okay. Let me share that. This is very exciting.
Okay. Next news. Last news. I don't know how to talk about this, so I'll just explain what happened. So a few months ago, I have, as many people know, if you've been paying attention to AR and part of our community, I'm very involved in the Iranian American community in my city. And I go and help them with demonstrations and go to rallies and help them out in other ways when I can. And I was asked by one of my friends, Mr. Ali, who's part of the Iranian American community, to join him in a meeting that he was having with a congressman, specifically Representative Adam Smith. And this was a meeting that he was having to encourage Congressman Smith to become a co-sponsor for House Bill, I think it's 539, but it's known as the Mahsa Act, in the name of Mahsa Amini, who was killed by the Iranian religious morality police. And this is a bill that seeks to put through Congress, put sanctions on the office of the president, the office of the supreme leader and the office of the president of Iran itself, not just individuals, but actually sanction that office as a position. And in general, it pushes the president to take more forward action on a lot of sanctions in general. And it is very clear that it's a bill that is supposed to hold the leaders of Iran accountable for their human rights abuses. And this is particularly strong because this is something that would have to be passed through Congress versus an executive order, which could be undone very easily or kind of not enforced as an administration desires. And I am excited to share that after a meeting with Congressman Smith, he has agreed to co-sponsor this bill that my local community and many Iranian Americans around the country have been pushing really hard to garner support for. Yeah, it was exciting, and I couldn't believe when he agreed to co-sponsor. Ali called me and shared the news, and I couldn't believe it. I freaked out.
So why were you invited to talk to him about this, and what did you guys talk about, and how did that influence him?
Yeah, so my friend Ali Jun, he wanted me to join him because he tells me that he thinks that I really help him clarify his thoughts. He tells me that he thinks that I'm very smart, that I'm articulate, that I can express these issues. He wanted me to come because of my background in Atheist Republic and our community in Iran. I have a lot of insight into, what people in Iran, young people desire, what their needs are. I'm very familiar with the issues, and I stay up to date on what's happening, and to kind of act as a resource to answer any questions the congressman might have about attitudes or the desires of young people in regards to their government, and just really lend the benefit of the experience I've garnered through AR.
Mm-hmm. What is the effect do you think of this act? What do you think this act would do?
So right now it is in the House. I don't know off the top of my head how many more people need to co-sponsor before it can go to the Senate, and then have to pass the Senate. But if it were to go through and then become signed into law, here's the thing: this would actually be signed into law. The whole idea is to just have much more stringent penalties and sanctions on the regime, and to help have more strict enforcement. Because if a president or administration failed to enforce something like the Mahsa Act, should it actually pass through, then that would actually be against the law versus just a lack of enforcement of any given sanctions that can happen via executive order. That's my understanding. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for being amplifying the voices of people in the Congress of the United States of America. So thank you.
Yeah, it was incredible. I feel very, very grateful to be given that opportunity. It's something that I took very seriously, that I treat with a lot of respect. It was an incredibly educational experience for me, to sit and listen to the congressman and hear him articulate his thoughts, hear him articulate his concerns, listen to the way that he thinks about these issues. I learned so much because Congressman Smith has been a representative in basically as long as I've been alive. So to be in the room and be able to garner some of the wisdom of his experience and to hear firsthand about his connections in different commissions and different committees. And he's like, well, I don't know if this would be good, but we could leverage things this way. And what excited me the most is when we had our first meeting with him, he still wasn't ready to sign on yet. But what he said is like, I remember these words because I wrote them down. He said, I'm making a commitment and I'm making a pledge to work with this community to get through something that actually will get something done. And wow. It's really amazing when you're in a room with someone that has that much knowledge, that much experience, and those connections and like a network that I almost can't even imagine, right? Like he's been involved with the Department of Defense for years. And that insight, even just sitting there and listening and just hearing the way that he thinks about these things, it taught me a lot. And so being given multiple opportunities to meet with the congressman was really an honor. And I feel really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I feel it's such a huge compliment to be chosen to be put in a situation like that and given that opportunity. And so, yeah, it was incredible. And I was so thrilled in this success we had in establishing this relationship. It feels pretty amazing.
People are saying, so Cloudberry is saying that's sick. Newman is saying, Susie. D is saying, wow, great work. Pakistani Defense Force is saying, congrats, Susie. Susanna. Imran is doing a celebrating emoji. Young Atheist is saying, great work, Susanna. Tema is saying, very nice. Jorn is doing a heart. Sorry, I usually highlight these things, but because Streamlit is not working. And then Nima is saying, thanks, AR and Susie. Oh, Pakistani Defense Force is saying, Susanna is doing a lot of good work lately. Wow, I don't know about lately, it's all the time. Oh, and then some Garfium is saying, great work, Susie. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it's such a cool experience. Like, I've never gone to go talk to a representative before, like as a constituent.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't know, it's cool. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the real deal. You go and there are the crests on the wall and you're talking to his aides and the whole thing. But I'm privileged to be able to do that. And so I love that I finally took the opportunity in my life to exert like that right and ability that I have as a citizen. I'm very lucky.
No, that's great. The Hindu historian saying Susanna is awesome in every conceivable way. Wow. Oh, yeah.
It's gonna make me emotional. Oh my god. Okay.
All right.
Oh, my heart, you guys. You're so sweet to me.
Oh, that's so cute. Adorable. That's adorable. John is saying, thank you, Atheist Republic, for your terrific show. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. It went long today, but it was good. I enjoyed the show today.
Yeah, me too. Sorry I rambled sometimes. That's why the show got longer.
No, but I love it. That's what we're here for. That's what we come here for.
Yeah. Okay.
I was talking to them, make sure you do your podcast, and they're like, you go for like almost 2.5, 3 hours sometimes. Most podcasts are like 1 hour. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. It's me. I'm hanging out with my best friend. I'm hanging out with my community. It's our opportunity to just like spend time together and have fun. So that's how I think about it.
Oh, that's well, guys, that deserves a like. Make sure you like the video, like the show, and when the stream is over, leave a comment. The comments really help grow our channel. Okay, so yeah, just do those. You know what? I'm not gonna ask for so many things because we have newsletter and so many other things. Just do these 2 things, okay? If you want to do other things, they're in the description. But at least do the like and the comment. It's very simple. Like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Okay. All right, guys. Bye. See you next week. Mwah.